have this discussion really quick because I feel like this discussion needs to be had. So let me share this off and talk. And I'm going to go ahead and share one more time. What's going on up here? I'll have to check into that in a bit. Alright. So, hold on. Let me go ahead and send this around. Alright, so I'm back. So, yes, cosplay. Alright, so I'm back. So, yes, cosplay is in fact, to me, not an art form. I've been having arguments with people about this lately. Genuinely, because there are things that are art forms that people overlook all the time. You know, one of which lately for me, I've noticed a lot of people looking over has been the music industry in general. It is one of the most talented art forms out there, outside of painting and certain stories, stuff like that. And we're seeing the outcome of what the internet has led us to believe, which is the very disastrous in general. But the internet brought us to this idea that internet fame is very important, and internet fame is everything you want it to be, and you're the most important person in the world. I have been learning that a lot of the people who are internet famous and stuff like that are very much just not very humble at all. In fact, hold on, let me see here. I might have this. All right. They're not very humble human beings at all. They're very not down to earth. So I'm at the point now where if I know streamers are at events or something like that, I'm probably not gonna go, unless there's certain ones I still want to see, but the streaming community is not my favorite place anymore. It's not my favorite place because a lot of people had the tendency of being a good, humble person and letting some of us meet them. And unfortunately, they've made themselves into more of an idol than they want to be. And unfortunately, it's turned against them. I still do want to meet some streamers, but there's a lot of streamers I absolutely do not want to meet anymore, solely because after Saturday night and meeting people at these concerts and these musicians and all that, they're some of my favorite people in the world right now. In fact, Mixie's beautiful. One of the most beautiful women I saw at that show. Did I actually get to meet her? Not necessarily, but I have plans on still trying to go out of my way and talk with her because she's cute. She's cute, very sexy, very beautiful woman, and she's older than me, so that's a plus. But I look at it this way. The people in the streaming community have shown me their very, very bad side of not being humble. And the thing that I was doing with this whole thing, and it was to help increase just me on YouTube, but it was there to help me understand and get people to see that, I went out of my comfort zone to meet people, and I was nervous when I went there. I was nervous when I first went there. And, I met a lot of really awesome ladies there, ladies in the metal community, and it just goes to show me that the lack of talent is coming from the streaming community. It's coming from streamers in general. How do I want to say this? Most streamers don't do jack shit. Most streamers will sit there and talk about news events, things that are going on in the world, pointless stuff that we could watch the news for and not pay them to say what's going on the news. The news was built for that. People online, they make a whole career out of it, and they get paid bank for it. Meanwhile, a rock star is putting more effort and work into their art form, and more effort and work into writing good songs for us. They don't get paid as much as we should be paying them, but they still get paid a little something. And it's very disappointing, to say the least, that the Quartering, who is apparently a top streamer on Rumble and shit like that, he's getting paid more than any of the fucking rock stars I've seen over the past weekend. He's getting paid more than them. And that's what really, what's going on, Alexandria, right? What's going on, Duke? Yeah, I have not been able to get silver lately, and that's something I do want to get back into at some point. What's going on, Anna? So yes, the streaming community is not really my place anymore. I'm still gonna try to do this here, but I've realized being a streamer is more of an embarrassment than it is a good thing. And you know, I don't mean to condemn people for paying them, but I really do think people should rethink giving their money to a streamer. No, my girlfriend's a musician. My girlfriend, my wife, Mixie. Mixie is my wife, by the way. It's my wife. Most beautiful wife ever. That girl is so awesome, man. Like, if you ever have a chance, look her up. Blue-haired girl, just a wild one, and I love that about her. But the bands were good over the weekend, by the way. They were amazing, and anybody who wants to say differently about me here, she did not transition. Get out of my fucking chat if you're gonna be a dumbass. You are like a retarded motherfucker. You need to get out of my chat, because most people here ain't gonna tolerate you anymore. Your fucking asshole comes in here and just says dumb shit. Yeah, he's always been like that, guys. These are the type of people that show up here and they make problems in this community, and we don't need them here. You know, I'm not trying to be mean, but they don't. What's going on? Fishing. But yeah, it's been very interesting, to say the least. Very exciting time of the year for me, even if it is the holidays. I spent, the weekend's still wearing on me. The excitement from the weekend is just still very, very there, and it's not going away anytime soon. In fact, one of the biggest shows coming up in August for me is the Avenged Sevenfold. Oh yeah, lots of things are happening today. Really, if you go and check the metal industry in general, there's a lot of really awesome stuff happening in general the past few weeks, if you're into that kind of stuff. And yeah, the world's just more happier than it was. Let's just put it that way. My mom's proud of me for what I'm doing. My mom, I talk to my mom quite frequently now. Kind of forgiving her. And really, she's just proud of what I'm doing. I showed her Mixie. She's like, man, she's beautiful. I was like, I know. Oh my God. Let's ignore this guy. Yeah. Please do. Please subscribe. It's totally worth, like, you guys will see me, like, offline. I wasn't normally doing much. I came to Dallas. I haven't been doing so much, and it's been one of those things. I've been trying to get out and trying to do more things, and this weekend showed me I need to go to concerts a lot more and meet a lot of the really, really the cute girls, the beautiful gothic women that are at those shows. I love those gothic ladies. They're up my alley. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know who my next show is. I know Avenged Sevenfold and Good Charlotte are out there in the future for me. That's the biggest one I'm planning on seeing. And, I like talking about that stuff here, but if you go over to my Death Bat Nation channel, you'll see all the bands that I've been listening to over there. I Set to Kill is very, very good. They're like a band I heard of, but I never really got into them like that. You're on I-8. I-8's a busy highway. Well, I mean, if you got stitched up, then that's not really something. I mean, but hey, yeah, like, you just gotta get out and enjoy your stuff. Sometimes you gotta, like, you gotta get out and enjoy things. I didn't expect too much when I went into this. I met Lyrics Noel on top of it, which was incredible. And it just really showed me that cosplay is a pointless art. Okay, the whole point of the stream was to talk about how cosplay is a very, very. It's not an art that's needed. People are pushing it. People have been pushing it for a while, and it's not really an art form, to be honest. It's a thing you can go to Disney and apply and get a job for any day of the week, but cosplay isn't needed anywhere actually. You can be talented at cosplay, you can dress up, but to get paid for that talent, where is it going to be used? That's my thing. Oh, well, I don't know why you would be in here at 8 years old listening to anything I have to say. I don't know why you would be in here at 8 years old doing anything like that. I didn't marry somebody that's in permanently in cosplay. All right, take it easy, Anna. Um, but yeah, Mixie's 42. Very, very beautiful woman. Doesn't cosplay. Um, if I don't know, I I'm not mad. I'm not entirely hating. I don't entirely hate Melanie Mack, but she did leave. She did cause a bit of problems in my life, and one of which was I never. It's strange. I never got to meet her, but I met all these other people besides her. It's so weird what she led me to. Yeah, 42-year-old women are pretty hot looking, and she doesn't look 42 either. That's the great part about it. She's very, very healthy, very in shape. Um, but yeah, she's just really. I mean, if you're talking about Mixie, yeah, she'd be permanent cosplayer because that's what she does. She's an artist that way. That is why I don't. I'm not condemning a person who is. She does it because that's what she does for a living. That's what she does. Cosplay. Outside of that, if you're gonna build a band, your whole band better be cosplaying. Like Slipknot, they were full on cosplayers for a while because they were playing instruments and they were making music with masks on. Mixie, she always dressed like a really, really dark gothic, beautiful gothic woman, which is something I admire about her. That's where cosplay can come in. But if your whole band, if you're cosplaying, okay, you better be trying to start a band because that's the only way that's going to work for you. If you're not gonna, cosplay really don't work in other areas. Like you don't hear many bands saying they need cosplayers for their music video. And every time I've seen some sort of like actress in a music video, it was always somebody who's just straight gothic girl with tattoos, and every now and then they put blood on her face or something like that. And I remember Aiden did that years ago. And even with Black Veil Brides, they had women dressed as angels, dark angels, in their videos. Maybe so. Maybe I am a cosplay critic. You know what? I'm just gonna say this: cosplay for me, outside of the music industry, is one of those things where if you're that's one of those things that I would be telling my girlfriend behind closed doors or my wife behind closed doors, hey, get dressed up like this character so I can have sex with you and be really turned on with you. That's the only time cosplay for me would come in handy. That's just how it is for me. Like I can't help it. I'm a how do I want to say it? I'm a sucker for a really, really beautiful woman. But yeah, I'm really having a good time of the year, and I hope you guys are too. I really do. I hope some of you can follow your dreams for once and follow them because I explained that you got to put yourself out there and you got to do your work. Even if it doesn't seem like you're doing anything, you're still doing something to make an impact out there. And go about it showing them that you want to be part of it, showing them that you wanted to be part of it all along, and just go in there and just make an impact. That's all you got to do. You don't be a jerk to everybody. Go in there and show what you want to show. But at first I had trouble understanding what I was doing. I had a lot of anxiety, and the past couple months, my anxiety kind of shifted over into anxiety where, okay, I'm going to do this, but I know I'm going to have an impact with it, but it's scary to know that I'm going to do it. There's two forms of anxiety. There's anxiety where you want to argue with people and get mad at people. And then there's anxiety where you're going to make an impact anxiety. Two forms of it. And one's not as bad as the other. The one's just really nervous. And that was where I knew mine the other night was nervous anxiety, because I went there and I had nervous anxiety of who is going to be here, who am I going to meet, who am I going to talk to. And it worked amazingly for me. I broke out of it actually after talking to a few people. And that's the goal, is like when you get out there and you meet these people and they make you feel welcome. That's an incredible feeling, especially because some of them randomly know the streamer. Maybe I do have impact already. I'm just not aware of it. That's why I'm humble, and that's why a lot of people that want to get into these careers, they're gonna go about it. You got to go about it in a way of not knowing what you're getting into, but do the best you can at everything. Be humble about it. If you don't get to see somebody at like somewhere you want, don't be mad at them. They weren't there. Be humble and wait. They'll be around again. They'll see that you really appreciated them even showing up, because that's all you gotta do. And I believe it or not, I met band members from Stitched Up Heart and a whole bunch of other band members I didn't expect to meet. So that's my thing, is you got to go about it in a manner where not expecting. How do I want to say this? You want to go in it in a manner where don't feel special about yourself. Don't feel special at all. Be humble and just respect who's there and just be grateful they showed up in your presence. That is how. Already? Yeah. Can't believe they already used it.
I know it's about time for her to buy some more.
Yeah, she needs to buy one of the big bulk ones.
I tried to tell her she needs to go to Sam's.
Yeah.
And she buy the one that Sam's, it'll last longer because they got more rolls on them.
Yeah.
She buying these cheap ones and they really got a lot of rolls on them. I'm trying to put these napkins in here.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't think boy on his nose so much.
Alright, so that's one of the people that live here with me. He's on duty today. I'm on duty tomorrow, and that's why you guys don't see me on here as much as you used to. On top of it, I don't have Wi-Fi here, so I'm using my phone to do all this. But it's been pretty incredible recently. And cosplay, I have mixed feelings about cosplay. Very mixed feelings, and I just think cosplay should be one of those things that should be done in a certain manner. There's certain places that it can be used, and certain other places it can't be used. Like example, if you start your band off as cosplayers, you're perfect. I will probably listen to you if you put the right sound out too. I will show up to your show and tell you how grateful I am you made that song. Like, that's literally how I am. And the thing that I thought was really cool about I Set to Kill is their last CD was the sound that Avenged Sevenfold put out when they first arrived onto the scene. That whole like creepy, eerie, sounds like you're at a grave site sound. I don't know how to explain it. It's a very like dark, sadistic sound, but it sounds a lot like Avenged Sevenfold used to play back in their day of City of Evil. That's when they really pulled that off. And I Set to Kill really did that with this album, and they did a good job at it, and I liked the sound that they produced. I love that sound in metal bands. And I told them in the comment section, it was like, this sounds a lot like old school Avenged Sevenfold with a girl lead singer. And that's that's what I really, really found interesting about that whole CD Reach. It sounds a lot like that. So, uh, but yeah, like I said, cosplay is one of those things that like it's very it's not meant for everything. Okay, there's very few territories you can get away with doing cosplay with, and that includes cosplay isn't really meant for nobody's gonna really hire anybody to do cosplay unless you're like even at an anime convention, they're not paying people to show up and do cosplay. You know, they're not doing that. There's no con for cosplay actually, and it's straight up, and that's what it comes down to is like it's a cool idea. Yes, it's a cool idea. Cosplay is a very cool idea, but it doesn't really have an impact in any way. Imru's very cute. She's very good at pulling off cosplay, but besides what she's doing online, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't seem like, you know, between okay. So put Mixie up against Imru. I'm gonna choose Mixie over her because Mixie's attitude and Mixie's she has her own personal cosplay that she does all the time. Imru is one of those people who she does cosplay she sees. If people were to do their own form of cosplay, like dress a certain way on their own, instead of trying to be like the anime characters they see, I might give it a little bit more respect. It's just all about being creative with that skill. And when I was in New York years ago, I used to do that kind of stuff, where I had a certain look to me that I really, really liked, but the people in Times Square didn't want to give me a job solely because I wasn't dressed like Spider-Man or somebody from a comic book or something like that. I went to downtown and I was dressed in attire like this. I was wearing this scientist goggles with a hoodie shirt that was purple and black stripes and black pants, and I was sort of dressed like a gothic emo person. And a lot of people didn't see what I was trying to do. They didn't really think about it that way. I tried explaining it to them, but there's like, why would we hire you? You're not dressed like anybody. It's like the point of this whole thing is that you are not. It was that kind of cosplay and with that kind of stuff is best to do your own thing. Like, don't try to be like the characters you see on TV. Be your own independent individual, and you'll see why. You'll literally see why I say that, because it'll get people to look at you in a different manner when it comes to cosplay, because you're not trying to be like everybody else. Let yourself shine is what I'm saying. When you do cosplay, I have things I do too that still is taking myself, but what's going on? Welcome back. There's times that I do stuff like at one point I had this really interesting like Abraham Lincoln Gothic appearance going on for myself, which I liked. But I recently shaved my beard a little bit shorter than I wanted to, and I wasn't trying to do it. It's just I was trying to trim it up and I trimmed it too low, and that's why my beard's gone right now. But I did have a really nice, did have a really cool Gothic Abraham Lincoln appearance going on for myself, which I can say may have been cosplay on its own, but it's one of those things that I just felt like I was like, that's cool. I'm gonna stick with that, and that's when I let myself shine a little bit more, and that's what I'm saying. When it comes down to that kind of stuff, you gotta let yourself shine in a manner that's your own unique manner. When it comes down to it, get into being yourself, but be yourself. Be your inner self. When it comes to cosplay, think about it. Like, what would you, if you could cosplay yourself? If yourself was like a character in a video game or something like that, What would you try to be like? How would you try to dress? Think about that kind of stuff. And then you can see what I'm saying. It's just taking yourself and be like, okay, well, I want to be this thing, but I want to be myself, but be myself in a different light. And that's where you can stand out if you do it the right way. Um, that's why I'm saying cosplay is an art, but when you cosplay something that isn't what everybody else is cosplaying, like don't be the character you see in a show. Be you, but be you to a new level. Is what I'm saying. Um, and that's part of the thing that you'll notice with me is I don't ever try to look like somebody else when I do stuff like that. If I do stuff like that, it's because I feel like being myself, but tenfold of myself, if that makes sense. Sevenfold is, to be exact. Um, some of us are, some of us that do cosplay. Um, that's that's a little tidbit about me that people don't understand is, me being the gothic side of me is me being tenfold of myself. Like if I ever decide to again, which I don't know if I will, I will regauge my ears back out and re-put my lip piercings back in, and I'll be the gothic version of me. That's the version. That's the me cosplaying myself, but a darker side of myself, if that makes sense. Right now I'm being the casual me, which is the me that, and it's not a personality thing. It's just that when I feel like it, that's what I do sometimes. You know, Personality wise, I just like being laid back version of me right now. I don't really care about trying to look like anybody else. So, like, I don't really care about being me tenfold because I'm already like making an impact here anyway. Um, but that's the point of the whole thing about why I say cosplay. If you utilize cosplay the right way and be yourself to the 10th degree and just let yourself shine in a manner that you're not trying to be like an anime character you see on somebody, I will give you props for that. That is something I really, really like. And that's something that a lot of people should start doing. If you're going to do cosplay, do yourself, but tenfold of yourself. That's what I'm saying. Just like in anything you do, try to give the best of everything you do into what it is you do. Like, that's the thing, is like, you can take your average look and shine with that average look and feel good about that average look, Anybody can do that. You just have to know how to do it, and you have to know what you're all about. And that's where people don't really like this sweatshirt right here, this blue and gray one. That's my emo shirt I wore. That's my emo like hoodie I wore to the show. Not so emo, but it has potential to be like, it has potential to be that. You know, and like what I'm wearing right now is like, as you can see, I'm wearing my Avenged Sevenfold shirt right now. Stuff like that. Be yourself to the 10th degree every single day of your life and just shine. Just let your inner self, your inner being of you, express yourself in a manner where you're not overcompensating and trying to be somebody else. That's what I'm trying to say. Of course, people from Florida, a lot of the people that are in here, not trying to be mean, but some of them, they misunderstand what I say. And so they take everything out of context. And they say some off the wall stuff. And that's something that I genuinely had gotten used to. I know some people in here, I don't think they would say some of the stuff they say out in public on here, but I've never actually got to meet these people. And if I was to do a meet and greet, I'm sure I'd meet half of them, and I'd look at them strangely because some of them, they just don't make sense to me about why they continue to go with that style of things, And that's something I kind of wish I understood about a lot of people who do act in that manner, who do talk in that manner, because it's like, is that naturally you, or are you just doing that as a cosplay version of yourself? Like, that's what I don't understand. So, but yeah, just Just do you, man. Always do you. Don't try to do anything else but be yourself. Be yourself to a degree that is going to let yourself shine in a manner that is you, but it's you above you. It's a version of you to make you. I don't know. It's really hard to explain, but I know what I'm talking about because I have done it before numerous times. Um, but as for what's next for me, concert wise or any form of meet and greet, I don't know yet. I'm gonna sit around and think about where I could go yet and what it is I could do. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people who is huge yet here on the internet, but I do have potential to have people show up to where I am. And one of the things I noticed about that concert is people did show up. And some people, I swear, they showed up just to see me and not even to show. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing here? And some people went out of their way and talked to me. And it's cool. It's cool that they're talking to me, but I would think you people would want to see the people at the freaking show, not me. But sometimes that happens where you show up to a place and people are like, oh, cool, that person's there also. And yes, that happens sometimes. I have people that won't admit that they know me, but they'll come out of their way and they'll try to start talking to me. And I'm like, they must know me, you know? And what was cool about it after the show, as soon as I left, I had a bunch of people behind me walking behind me at times. I'm like, do people really know me that well? And you know, it's an experience, and I don't think of myself any better than I was yesterday or the day before, you know? And that's the thing about me is I don't try to, you know, I will never try to feel like I'm better than anybody, but I will show you stuff about myself just to get you to humble yourself out. Sometimes that's all I do is I try to humble people in a manner where I'm like showing them something and won't be mean. But if I'm trying to show you something and it's going to be more than likely to humble you because you've disrespected the hell out of me, and I don't really go about disrespecting anybody. I will call them out on their bullshit and say some things you don't want to hear. But at the end of the day, if I'm trying to show somebody something, that would mean I'm trying to humble them also, and that would mean I'm also trying to get them to chill out and stop disrespecting me, you know? And there's been a lot of that in the past few years. Is like being humble to people. Humbling people is one of the most hardest things because you got to do it in a manner where you can be like, you can show them, but it's on them to learn. Am I doing too much? Am I being disrespectful to this person while they're trying to humble me? Because a lot of times what humbling comes off of to people is it comes off of as disrespect. But the point of humbling people is to show them that you weren't trying to do it in a disrespectful form. But you were trying to humble them and teach them, hey, try to be a little bit more chill about what you're doing instead of going around making my name bad. If, you know, at the end of the day, if you're trying to make my name bad, I want to say something to you, but I'm going to show you eventually why that may be a bad idea. Because you're going to see that this guy was cooler and I could have been friends with him, but because I've disrespected him, he don't really want to get to know me. And that's how I am. If you disrespect me, you keep disrespecting me, I'm going to show you every reason in the world why you shouldn't have disrespected me. And trust me, there are people that disrespect me here around me. Not the guy that walked in here, but other people that have disrespected me. And I'm actually in Dallas. But yeah, I try to show people in a manner where they shouldn't be disrespecting other individuals by showing them stuff that I genuinely did. And some people get really, really upset about that kind of stuff. So, because some people want to believe that you're trying to literally outdo them all the time. And if that's my thing is, I'm not here to outdo anybody. That's my thing, is be disrespected by me all you want, but I'm not here to outdo anybody at all. And that's something that needs to be understood about me. Is like, I don't go around trying to outdo anybody because I know people are on a different path than me. And why would I be trying to outdo people when people themselves normally are the ones who bring their shortcomings upon themselves, especially the ones who are doing really messed up things to other people to ruin, their career, their path to success. Um, be humble when you do these kind of things. You're not going to be rich all the time. You're going to take some falls. You're going to be, yeah, in fact, you're going to struggle a lot. But the struggle is part of the fun. And, even if I do struggle in certain areas, people see what I'm trying to do. And that's what makes it great. People will see what you try to do. People will try to bring you down, and the people watching you, the people that really, really respect you, will watch you from afar and see you people dragging you down all the time. And they'll be there to kind of lift you up at times, or they'll be there to wait till you come back up and feel better again. They're always there. And that's the thing, is don't go around disrespecting everybody, expecting yourself to succeed at something, because that's not how success works. Benji and Joel Madden, for example, Good Charlotte. I heard a story from him in a live stream I watched earlier today, where he was talking about how his whole career started, and the most important concert of his life when he first started his career was them showing up on skateboards and pushing their amps in with skateboards to the place where they were supposed to play. That's a story I like to hear. You can't expect yourself to be good at everything. And there's some people that go in to these things and they get this headstrong personality of them. Well, I'm better. And that was what was going on in Florida, actually. For me, Florida had a bunch of people that wanted to be good at something, and they weren't humble enough for it. They weren't humble to anybody. They had their head up their ass the whole time. And you can't have your head up your ass the whole time. You got to learn to be respectful towards others. Otherwise, you're not going to get far. Otherwise, you're not going to have a community of people knowing you. And that's part of something I learned in this community, is like, do your best at something. And people will see when you're being disrespected, and people will know that it isn't you. Like, if you've been doing something for a while, let's just say you're doing music, okay? You're doing music, and you're trying your best to put it out, but there's people out there heckling you. People will see those hecklers. People will see those people giving you a hard time. People will see the people trying to take from you. And they're not going to get respect after a while. You're going to get more respect out of people by letting other people see. And the reaction that they see off of me doesn't always they don't ever see that it was me doing that. They see the other people heckling me because that's normally what it is. And people know by now, enough people know by now, that I get heckled quite frequently. That people come in and they act really bizarre in my community. And sometimes I'm like, well, why are you showing up here acting bizarre when you already know that I'm doing well and you're still inserting yourself here like you're supposed to be here? Why don't you find a community that you can go to and do that at? I don't kick anybody out of the community, but man, some people come into this community and thinking they're going to be accepted for being a weirdo. That's not how this works here. Be humble. Be humble, be respectful, and don't insert your weird ideologies into this community, because I more than likely won't accept them. And that's the moral of the story, is like, I won't accept them, but you're also going to learn that a lot of other people won't accept you either for acting like that. They don't say it, but they're too big to care about people being disrespectful like that. That's just how it goes. Like, I'm pretty sure that if you go into a community full of people, you're going to see how, like, a majority of them are normal and don't talk about, weird stuff like what this guy was up here saying earlier. You'll find out eventually that most of those people are, like, normal, and they don't really care about what you have to say. So you kind of shift away from that. And people have thought for a while that was okay in this community, and as time went on, people see that that's not what this community was about. Yeah, you can come in here and be yourself, but at the end of the day, you're going to see that not a lot of people are going to want to accept you in a community like that. You know, some of my followers are like completely just consistently trolling, and I don't even think they know how to be themselves at time. Some of my followers are absolutely strange, and it's because a lot of people who come here and talk to me are politically driven. They're politically driven. They're not driven by other stuff. They're not driven by music. They're not driven by art. They're politically driven, and they think their political ideology still deserve to be in this community, and that's not what this community is about. Never about politics or anything like that, or government stuff, or how do I want to say this? Hollywood, Hollywood politics and stuff like that. That's not what's gonna happen here. I talk about other stuff here besides that. And if you guys haven't noticed, I'm on Deathbat Nation a lot, so when stuff gets uploaded there, I'm gonna come here and kind of talk about that here. But what I'm talking about today here is because I feel like we need to pay more attention to what's going on in the cosplay community, and people are actually doing art in cosplay. They're being other people besides themselves, and that's my thing is, like, if you're gonna do cosplay, do it in a manner where it's you being you. It is, sometimes it is cool to see people be somebody from a cartoon, but I'd more or less prefer a woman modifying her look to look cooler than she is. And as I will say, Mixie does that. Mixie's one of those people. She modifies her look to look like herself, but still, it's hard to say. She modifies herself, but she still looks like herself, if that makes sense. And that's part of why most cosplayers don't get it right. Most cosplayers are going above and beyond and trying to be something they're not. Like, I think about it this way. If you really wanted to be if you really were like into pop and you wanted to shift over to the emo goth community and be a really pretty goth girl, that's pretty easy to do. You can just wear dark clothes, stuff like that. And then you will become the emo goth version of yourself. It's not hard to cosplay when it comes down to it, And that's where I give my opinion. And my opinions and my takes aren't so bad on that. It's just there's a lot of people that misunderstand that it's not really an art form, because most of them aren't going to be used for music videos and stuff like that. Like, you can look at most bands out there and see that most of these women are actually cosplaying, but they're cosplaying themselves at a darker tone. And that's kind of what I'm going at here with this. Is like, I don't know, but I think that's really about it for me right now. I talked for a little bit, and I got a lot off my chest, and I hope you guys, hope you guys do take into consideration what it is I'm saying, and just think about it a little bit. I don't have a problem with I don't have a problem with a woman cosplaying, but don't always cosplay anime characters. Be yourself to a degree where you're just slightly altering your look. But, that's the opinions I can give on that. Because, it's cool that a lot of women can go and look like an anime character. But that's more for, as a guy, that's more of I'd want a woman to be intimate with me on that level, Like, example, if she looks like that and we're in a bedroom, well then, hey, But, alright. I'm getting out of here. Thank you all for stopping in. I know you guys stuck. I know some of you stuck around for like probably 3 minutes, which is fine. I'm going to be doing this more often until I get back to a level where I can get back to actually having streams and playing games with you guys and all that. But for now, I'm doing this, and hopefully at some point in the future, I can go back to doing everything. But until then, take it easy, and I'll be seeing you next time.